Because if Elon was a good guy making a good product, fine. But why are they going to force us to have electric cars? Because it's coming. Already in Europe, you can't sell diesel cars after 2026.
Really?
Yeah, already they're stopping. Look it up.
Fuck?
You can only buy electric cars within 10 years.
No, they don't care.
But then,
Not yet.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but then every manufacturer is just gonna start to make electric cars.
Correct. So so not about Elon, because all the manufacturers make electric cars, right? America, the reason America is delayed in this, because America, a lot of the lobbying to the government is done by oil companies. That's also why America doesn't have rail. Have you ever wondered why America, as big as it is, doesn't have bullet trains?
Like
bullet trains, like China or Japan. They have bullet trains. They have 300-mile-per-hour trains that are never late for even a single second. America would be perfect for that, but they don't have it because big oil comes along, lobbies the government, makes sure all the rail projects are shut down, so you have to drive your ass on the freeway, on these huge freeways, which is good for the oil companies, for the gasoline. So that's a side note. So that's why it's delayed in America, because the big oil's involved. But if you look in Europe, most European countries are already starting to say you have to have an electric car. You can still drive your petrol car, but you have to buy an electric car or a hybrid by 2026. Lamborghini's just gone hybrid. Aston Martin's new cars are hybrid. Even the supercar companies are going hybrid because they know they're going to have to, right? And they're doing this under the guise of climate change. What did I say earlier about the Trojan horse? We care about the planet, climate change. The Trojan horse inside of that is we're going to control you. We're going to stop you eating as much meat. We're going to stop you flying around on planes. We're going to have an electric car that we can control and we know exactly where it goes and we can turn it off. We're going to stop you doing X, Y, Z for the environment. But the people who are in charge of the world who purport this shit, are they flying on economy planes or are they flying on jets?
Jets.
They're flying on jets. When they get rich and they're so scared about sea levels, they buy a nice big mansion on the water. You ever notice that? I thought the sea was coming, but you want a fucking mansion on the beach. You're not very scared of it now, are you?
And they'll also have armed guards and say that people can't have guns.
So this is what I'm saying. All of these things that the Matrix purports, it's all fucking bullshit because the people who are actually fucking involved in purporting it are not concerned by it on any level. And they're going to come along to you and say, for the environment, don't eat meat, drive your electric car on Tuesdays, the only day it's going to turn on. Fuck you, you're a peasant, you're a slave, you're a peon. That's what you are and that's what you'll be. If you try and go to the protest about being a slave, we will shut your electric car off. Fuck you.
Fuck yeah.
Slavery's coming. And if you resist too much, the kill bots are going to turn up to your house, fucking drag you to Gulag Center number 7. That's the future of humanity. We're living in one of the last free times.
Sounds fucking lit.
It's coming.
Right.
It's coming.
Mine.
You've been watching my videos for a while. You'll notice I'm animated when I talk. I move my hands all the time. You can watch any of my Tate speeches, I move my hands. If you watch me on Twitter or Instagram, I move my hands when I talk. I'm always moving my hands when I talk. And this is a habit I've learned. And I've learned to do this. And the reason I learned to do this is I didn't think it was that interesting a story. But I told someone once they found it was interesting. When I was young, I used to go to chess tournaments with my father. My father was one of the best chess players in the world. And a lot of the chess players were ex-KGB. And because they're Russians and they're ex-KGB and they now live in wherever, all over the world, and they're all chess players. So I hung around with a whole bunch of autistic nerds, my father, who was completely crazy and the best man alive, and KGB agents in one room. It's a bit of an interesting scenario. And we were sitting, and I was sitting with my father who spoke fluent Russian. My father spoke Russian fluently. He learned Russian in the Air Force. He was a linguist for the Air Force. In fact, he was intelligence. He worked for the CIA. Long story. Anyway, my father and about 3 Russians were sitting around talking in fluent Russian. And the Russians are very well known for being very stoic. They don't talk very much. They're very hard people, especially the KGB guys, right? But the KGB guy told a story, and he was telling my father, saying that Russians in general aren't very animated when they speak. They sit still, they say yes, they say no, yes, blah, blah, blah. They're very, very calm. They don't like to talk too much. However, he was told that many Russians are trying to learn American mannerisms, and they're trying to learn to be more animated with their speech, and that many young people in the KGB, many Russians were learning to move their hands a lot more as they speak. And obviously I didn't understand the conversation. My dad told me this afterwards. And I said to my dad, oh, is that so they can fit in better with Americans? He said, no, it's not so they can fit in. They like the idea of being animated. And this is an advantage, a tactical advantage I identified. If you're constantly animated, your moving doesn't scare people. I see a 9, or what I would consider a 9 or a 10 now and again in the very, very high-end clubs. But in general now, if you're a 10, they get a new inbox. Do you have any idea how often they get messaged? Do you have any idea of the choices they have of men? I'm not talking loser men, millionaires, verified athletes, fucking a bunch of people with blue ticks maybe you never heard of, some comedian from somewhere, some billionaire from somewhere else. if you're a 9 or above, your inbox is full to the brim with the top quality choice males, and you can click on them and view their entire life, the car they drive, where they live, where they go, are they spunking money? You can click on it, and girls sit and live on their phone anyway. So you think a girl's ever going to go to a bar nowadays with the intention of meeting some Joe Average next door? Why? Why would she do that? It's simply not going to happen. It's not only is it getting harder to get the good women, and I'm talking about good looking, are becoming less accessible. They're less accessible to the general man. You're not going to run into them in Walmart. You're really not going to. I know girls who by the time they're 18 are on boats out in fuck knows where. I knew a girl who was exceptionally pretty. She was from Moldova. She married a prince in Dubai. Spoke to her, I said, how is it? She goes, oh, it's amazing. I'm living with these tigers and I get to stay in the house and I drive his McLaren and my life is great. And, oh, like, so what's it? Is he there much? She's like, no, he's not here. He's always away working. He has royal duties. Blah. Spoke to her again 6 months later. She goes, oh, I'm miserable. It turns out he wasn't working. He's sleeping with all these other girls. I'm like, what the fuck? He's a prince. What do you think he's doing? You think he was loyal to you, you bimbo? Anyway, the point is, then she started saying, I feel like I'm a prisoner. I can't go anywhere. So her perfect dream life, the same scenario changed based on her feelings for the man. And this is the problem with women. And this is why it's so dangerous to be a man nowadays. Because in my scenario, I can have a girl who works for me, who's in love with me and enjoy everything. And as soon as she finds out I don't want to be with her in a long-term way, or I sleep with another girl, or she gets jealous, then she can sit and say, he forced me, and they will change. Women do this shit.
Why did you move to Romania? You're from Chicago. I'm in Chicago right now. This is where I'm from.
America is a failed society. If you can marry a woman, she can divorce you, take all of your money, take your children, and decide to turn your son into a girl and force hormones on him at 5 years or 8 years old, whatever. That's a failed society.
Well.
If you can't go to a cash point at 2 a.m. without the risk of someone shooting you in the head, that's a failed society. If you have to worry about the police blowing your brains out when you get your wallet out of your pocket, it's a failed society. Grew up in America, then I moved to London. I lived in London. London is also a failed society. And I decided to try and find somewhere which is safe with genuine freedom. When I stumbled on Bucharest, Romania, I happen to like it here very much. But there was no incident in London or America. I just don't see the appeal to living in a country with those kind of constrictions.